YCS Portland has come and gone, and my boy Brian Chen is now YCS champion. What's going on, you guys? Slim here to talk to you guys about why Reyes Bay, aka Sky Strikers, won YCS Portland. That's right. My boy Brian Chen took it all the way to the finals. Such a crazy finals. I think even like a crazy top 8, top 4. Like everyone was just shocked to see Sky Strikers go up against Great Maju, the deck. Actually insane. I'm also going to be doing a video on the Great Maju deck of why it almost won the YCS and just took it by storm. So if you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Consider subscribing, give the video a like if you do enjoy it. If you want to see that video on the Great Maju deck, that'll be coming up hopefully within a couple days after this video goes live. But yeah, shout out to my boy Brian. He held it down. I've played against him multiple times, him playing this deck, and I know for a fact he is very, very, very skilled with this deck, and he's also extremely crazy when it comes to resolving multiple engages. And yeah, I'm just so happy for him. Shout out to you, bro. I'm just so happy. Congratulations, you are now a champion. I can say I played a YCS champion, so it's amazing. But yeah, we're gonna go over the deck. I know a lot of people are kind of pissed to see Sky Strikers, but you kind of have to think about what just happened last week at the UDS, where we had Orcust and Thunder Dragons in the finals, completely different from what we saw here at Portland. And yes, there was, representation amongst all the decks, but Sky Strikers, were proving that they were very consistent at what they were doing. And Brian brought up a very good point in his live deck profile that I will touch upon as definitely one of the reasons I feel that this deck won the YCS. But yeah, if you guys are new again to this series, we go over the deck and then we talk about, why I feel the deck was successful at taking down the YCS. But yeah, we will get into it. So for his monsters, he played for hand traps. He played 3 Ash Blossom, 1 copy of Ogre, and 1 copy of Ghost Spell. So a lot of people are probably wondering, why the 1-ofs? He wanted flexibility. He wasn't sure exactly what he was going to put as the other 2 hand traps. I think at other times he had 2 Ogres or Veilers or something like that, and probably just wanted the variety, because Bell is a card that a lot of people don't actually respect, and that's a huge mistake in this format. Bell is extremely strong against Thunder Dragons. It's very strong against graveyard effects, very strong, against Solomon Grave, very good against, Call by the Grave, all those crazy things that could happen, all those crazy interactions that you really wouldn't think of are just really, really strong. For those of you that played Thunder since the beginning, you guys know how devastating Bell was on a Hawk, and Hawk is usually your main combo piece when you're doing your Thunder Dragon combos, to resolve a Colossus. And Colossus is this deck's kryptonite if they don't have an out to it. But yeah, Bell is a really strong card. Same with Ogre. I've talked about Ogre multiple times already this format. It can just hit something. It can hit anything. In the mirror match, being able to hit the multi-roll, being able to take away the Saryuja link arrows, any link arrows that can just give you those open zones to continue to combo. This card just takes care of it. So I think it's very, very strong. And then of course the 3 Rey, because Rey is Bay and the heart and soul of the deck. Save for the monsters, for the spells, the 2 Foolish Burial Goods to go with the Metal Foes Fusion. This shouldn't come as a surprise. It's very standard in the deck, just to load up your spells, get your Metal Foes Fusion, and get you some extra draws. He chose to main deck 2 copies of MST. He talked about how he wanted to actually play Cosmic Cyclone and the advantages to playing Cosmic Cyclone, especially in the Orcust matchup, since Dingirsu, of course, can provide that extra protection to cards being destroyed, whereas Cosmic will banish them. But I feel that this card is extremely flexible. He talked about how he's played through, hand traps, played through opponent's negates, and then all he would do is MST his Area 0, get Rey, and then do Rey shenanigans, which the deck is built to do, and you just come back from there. The thing with Sky Strikers, you guys should know, is just how quickly they snowball the game completely out of your favor and in their favor. So MST, very flexible card, also really good against the back row decks and against any floodgates that could potentially hurt this deck as well. 2 copies of Desires. It's Desires. It says draw 2. I know this card is risky. A lot of people don't like playing this card. I think a lot of players have gone back and forth on, is this card worth playing? Is this card not worth playing? At the end of the day, high risk, high reward card. You draw 2. You get that plus. You get more spells. With it being a spell, you can draw those extra 2 cards you need, and it can be amazing. So I know he's a huge fan of Potted Desires. Sub-Striker players, like I said, are on the fence about it, but it definitely worked for him, and it might be something we see popping up more in future Striker lists. The 1 Rhoda, because it's the 4th Rey. He played only 2 copies of Area 0 to go with, the 1 Terraforming, of course, but 2 Area 0 was interesting. I guess you just didn't want to max out on it. Some players don't want to max out on it because opening multiple field spells isn't really that great. It doesn't really get you anywhere. and I mean, he kept the deck a clean 40, so I'm pretty sure he was able to cut this to play. As you guys can see, there's some extra copies of cards in here that you wouldn't, that have probably come a little more standard in Strikers, but 2 field spells gets the job done. Then he played the 1-ofs, he played the 1 Afterburners, the 1 Jamming Wave, the 1 Eagle Booster, the 1 Hornet Drones. He chose to play 2 copies of Shark Cannon. He talked about this being one of the best cards now in the deck, and it's very true. This card is able to basically just take your opponent's monsters and just basically play their deck. You're able to play their deck with this card, which is the term he was using, because being able to take your opponent's monsters is crazy. You may not be able to attack with it, but you are able to link with it. You are able to link climb and do crazy things with it. As you guys can see, he is playing Hida in the extra deck. In the mirror match, you're able to use this and Hida, and you're able to reborn the Kagaris, and it's basically like you never lost Kagari in the first place. So that is extremely strong for this deck. And this card being like a being kind of like a DD Crow is also really strong too, against like Solomon Grade and against like key combo cards that are in the graveyard. So very solid. Then of course the 3 Widow Anchor. What can I say? This card just this card sucks to play against. This card's so good. Just being able to just negate and just take stuff is crazy. Is how they just, you know, steal so many games with this card. Then of course the God card, multi-roll. He did say he did draw it a lot. He saw it a lot. So, you know, to each his own. This card's very strong still, even at 1. You know, with it at 1, you know, they resolve it. It's still insane. Once you get that huge plus, that huge like set 3 or 4 off of this, like the game has already snowballed out of control. So yeah, this card is nuts. Hope you have a Ghost Ogre for it. The 1 Hercules base, because you know you got to recycle. Also being able to punch over monsters and draw cards is amazing. Of course, the 3 Engage. I personally know for a fact this is Brian's favorite card, and this card is this man draws this card like it's his job. I can tell you firsthand. The first time I played him, man, I got mollywopped by this. Multiple engages was just like, man, ripping it off area 0, bolts activating multiple in a turn. It was just like, man, we were never winning that game. But yeah, no, you guys already know standard striker stuff. And then of course the 1 Terraforming, the 1 Upstart. There's no reason not to play Upstart if you are playing 40 cards. It's an extra spell in the graveyard, and you know, it just thins your deck and makes your deck a little more consistent. Then for his traps, he played 6. He played 3 impermanents, 3 more hand traps. Very generic. If you're going second, this is very strong. And then he played the 3 there can only be 1. This card is good going first or second, because going first, you know, you floodgate out your opponent. Going second, break apart their board with the striker shenanigans, and then just flip this, and they're kind of just, you know, they're kind of stuck, and you've already out advantaged them you know, completely with this deck, so you just win like that. And this is just extremely well positioned against like Solomon Grade and other combo decks in the format. So this card's very strong. That is it for the main deck. Onto the side, we got the 3 Artifact Lancia. He talked about playing this because, you know, not only for the Orcus decks, but for, he thought that the Thunder combo deck was going to be, you know, really popular because people have been trying to play it. And he said he didn't see it as much, but it was good to just have this card because this card does, you know, have it, you know, its blanket effect against the Orcus decks as well. And we knew Orcus was in high representation in multiple variants. So card is still really strong. Talked about it in my cards you should be siding. It gives you that ability, even if it wasn't as favored this format as it was last format, it's still extremely strong to have against combo decks. A copy of Effect Veiler. I mean, it's Veiler, it's like another impermanence. 2 more Bells and 2 more Ogres. This was interesting. He really valued these hand traps over other hand traps. Like I said, Ogre just always catches something, and I feel Bell is seeing a lot more play. I think he knew that Pure Thunder Dragons was going to see a lot more play, and when Pure Thunder Dragons came out, they were really one of the best decks against Striker, so being able to cut them off from Hawk and off from like the Vanishing Effects was really strong, so Bell definitely earned its place in the deck. And like I already mentioned, Ogre. He also played 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Again, this is just additional back row removal. This is really good against baiting out the Crescendo, getting rid of Babel, getting rid of whatever against Orcus. Dingirsu can't protect them because it prevents them from being destroyed, whereas this just banishes them. The downside is, you know, you do pay the 1,000. It is bad kind of in time, but you're not really playing into time with it as much. You just want to use it for its utility purposes. It's just really strong. 2 Shared Ride. This is like Maxi in the mirror match, the Sky Striker mirror match. This card is nuts. Whoever resolves this usually wins the game. That's how it goes. So yeah, there's no reason not to at least include this in your side deck if you expected a lot of strikers. And I think going in, Brian and a lot of the Sky Striker players knew that the deck is still pretty consistent. The deck did, you know, lose a couple more cards, but the deck is still, as you guys can see, very strong. Clearly it won the YCS. And of course 3 Twin Twisters because, you know, mirror match, back row decks, really solid. Just on to the extra deck last, we got the 1 Boral Sword. He said he never summoned it, but it does come up. Sometimes, you know, you take your opponent's monsters with Shark Cannon, Widow Anchor, you just kind of kill them with Boral Sword. So, you know, if you have it, you have it. The one Hida, because I mean you're taking stuff from Solomon Great, you're making fire stuff, and in the mirror match you're reborning Kagari's because it's broken and you just play like you never lost Kagari in the first place. Same thing with Phoenix, just really good utility. Unicorn, good utility if you summon them. Ningirsu for problematic cards you can't get off the field. And then on to all the striker links, of course, 3 Hayate. This card is insane. Just, you know, punch for 15, dump a card, nuts. The 1 Kagari, like I said, with Shark Cannon, it's like you're playing multiple in the mirror. Being able to reborn it with Hida is nuts. And the 2 Kaina, you know, being able to stun stuff, being able to gain life and time is really strong. And of course the 3 Shizuku, like the heart and soul of the extra deck, because I mean you want to be resolving, you want to be adding cards at end phase and just out advantage your opponent. And then the 1 Bomber Dragon, this card's really crazy in this deck because you basically set it up so easily, like I said, with your Widowmaker, Shark Cannons, and you really do kind of lock your opponent because they aren't able to really do anything. And you know, the minute you special summon something, you blow up the whole board. Like, it's so solid. Yeah, this card's nuts. But yeah, that was this whole main extra inside. Now on to the reasons why I feel this deck won. I feel this deck won YCS Portland because Sky Strikers at the end of the day is still that. It is still Sky Strikers. It is still the deck that when it gets going, when it starts snowballing, it's very hard to come back. You guys know this. I know a lot of you're sick of seeing Striker. I get it. I mean, we've been seeing Striker everywhere for, God, how long has it been now? It's been well over a year. So many YCSs, so many events, but it has proven itself as one of just the best decks. If you look at how long Burning Abyss has been around, it's still around. Strikers might actually be that next deck. It might be that deck where Dante never died, Ray never really will die, and just being able to snowball the games in your favor. All these cards are just so solid. All the utility cards that Sky Strikers have, they're just so very good at breaking apart boards, getting advantage, overwhelming the opponent, and that's exactly what it is. When you resolve and engage and draw an extra card, then you resolve, engage, draw an extra card, you're literally just snowballing the game in your favor. You're just out advantaging your opponent, and half the time there's nothing they can do. Ray floats basically forever the way if you play this deck well. Your resource management is strong, and like I said, you can even play Floodgates now in the deck that basically not only does it slow the game down, but it secures the secures your win. One thing I noticed about this deck too that's very interesting, you guys notice something? There's no Mystic Mine. Yeah, there's no Mystic Mine. I actually just noticed that. There's no Mystic Mine anywhere in this deck. That's crazy. Shout out to you, Brian. I give you a lot of props for that because I can't tell you how many times I've played against Striker players that play Mine because they use it as basically, you know, unfortunately what Mine is used for, to stall games out so you just out advantage your opponent. But he was able to do it, you know, the regular way that Strikers do it and not dedicate any unnecessary spots to it. So, you know, props for that. But yeah, that was one of the reasons. Another reason is the pilot. For those of you that don't know, I have played Brian multiple times, and I can tell you right now, all the time he's put in playing the deck. He's been playing the deck for so long. Every time when I was playing those UDS qualifiers, he was always playing Striker, always putting in the time with that deck. And just, you know, the more you play a deck, the better you get with it, to where you just know the deck inside and out. He always knew what to do with this deck. He knew what to do in every situation. You read his feature matches, he knew what to do. And I mean, when you're a skilled pilot, the hard work pays off. So that's definitely one of the other reasons. Another thing is, I think people weren't valuing Striker as much, and I know that's weird to say, but everyone kind of pays attention event by event. And what won the last event? Thunder Dragons. So everyone was preparing for Thunder Dragons, kind of forgetting about, you know, Strikers and stuff. Even though Strikers, I believe, did make top 4, people were like, well, Strikers are still Strikers at the end of the day. But the same thing is that in a long tournament, this deck is always going to do well. The pilot is good, the deck is good, the deck can, you know, do the same thing every single game. It gets that advantage going. The mirror match can be crazy, but you just, you know, can out advantage your opponent, and you can just take resources away from your opponent. And again, the resource game is huge in this deck. You're not a glass cannon deck. You don't die the minute one card gets negated or whatnot. You don't die the minute your board gets broken, because you just keep coming back. Again, Ray floats forever basically, so being able to do stuff like that makes it so that your deck continues to survive. But overall, like I said, I know a lot of people are not happy that Striker won. They really wanted Great Maju to win. Another thing is, people were saying we have no idea how Great Maju got to the finals. We're definitely going to talk about that in the next video. But yeah, I want to, again, give a huge shout out to my boy Brian Chen. You did it, man. Congratulations. You're a YCS champion. I'm just so happy. I wish I could have been there, but, you know, like I said, I was there in spirit, and, you know, you did your thing, man. I'm just really happy for you. And I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Again, don't hate on the deck because it's Sky Strikers. You know, Sky Strikers are just good. At the end of the day, you kind of got to just suck it up and accept it. We've gone through how many formats where there was one like deck that just kept topping or kept winning. You know, there was Necros format, Dragon Ruler format, all these different formats. And the thing is, Strikers, it's an interesting deck. It's very different if you think back to the way Yu-Gi-Oh used to be played. You know, the minute monsters are so minimal. You're only really playing with one real monster in Ray, and you're just able to recycle it so many different ways and so many different forms of it in all the Sky Striker links. And you're able to just get so much advantage that it's just crazy. And at the end of the day, if you're a skilled pilot, if you know how to resource everything, the deck really does reward you. And I think that's one thing that you guys should always remember. But yeah, those are my thoughts, you guys. Again, if you're new here, consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, you know, give it a like. It helps the channel out. And you know, if you're trying to build this deck yourself, by all means, you guys want to purchase your cards, feel free to use my TCG player link. It's down in the description below. It comes back to the channel and it helps me out, and I really do appreciate it. But yeah, that is it, you guys. YCS Portland 2019 is come and gone. Brian Chen, you're our YCS champion. Way to represent Cali, bro. Again, just so happy for you. And I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know your thoughts on why you feel Sky Strikers won this YCS. Like I said, the next video we'll be talking about the Great Maju deck, because there's no way we could not talk about that deck. Crazy deck, crazy finals, and yeah, at the end of the day, you know, Strikers did their thing. Great Maju, you know, their time is coming. I mean, the deck is crazy too, but yeah, it was definitely one crazy finals. I think it's not what people expected, but I think that's the beauty of these events, is sometimes the unexpected happen and it just makes the event amazing. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. What do you guys think? Sky Strikers are still gonna be one of the best decks of the format. We called it, and you know, clearly we're not wrong. First YCS, it's already winning, so yeah, that's just some food for thought. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.